Good afternoon. Welcome to the September 26th joint meeting of the Glendale City Council, Glendale Housing Authority, being called to order at 3:04 p.m. For council, may we have roll call, please?
Yes, council members Asadrian.
Here.
Devine.
Here.
Kasakian. Najarian.
Here.
Mayor Brotman.
Here.
And roll call for the authority.
Housing Authority members Ajinian.
Here.
Asadrian.
Here.
Brotman.
Here.
Devine.
Here.
Kasakian. Parazian. And Chair Najarian.
Here.
And to clarify, Councilmember Kasakian, I know he's not here, but is he going to be calling in now for this meeting,
No, Mayor Brotman, he'll be calling in for this evening's meeting.
this evening's meeting? Okay, thank you. May we have your report, please?
Yes, the agenda for the Tuesday, September 26, 2023 joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on September 21st, 2023 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And the first item on the agenda, please?
First item is Community Services and Parks regarding funding recommendations by the Glendale Continuum of Care COC Board for the submission of the Glendale COC funding application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as part of the 2023 COC Notice of Funding Opportunity Competition. A, council motion to approve the 2023 Continuum of Care Program priorities and authorize the submission of a grant application to the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development on behalf of the Glendale COC under the 2023 COC program competition as recommended by the COC board, and authorize the city manager or designee to execute all agreements, certifications, and documents necessary to accept and implement the funding. B, Housing Authority motion to approve the 2023 Continuum of Care program priorities and authorize the submission of a grant application to the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development on behalf of the Glendale COC under the 2023 COC program competition as recommended by the COC board, and authorize the city manager or designee to execute all agreements, certifications, and documents necessary to accept and implement the funding.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Galanian?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Brotman. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Members of City Council and members of the Housing Authority, Chair Najarian. I'm just going to invite Arsene Sayan, our Great Homeless Program Manager, to make the presentation on this item.
Thank you so much, Mr. Galanian. Good afternoon, Chair Broadman, members of the Housing Authority, City Council. I'm here to provide a brief presentation on this year's, the 2023 Continuum of Care Program competition. As you know, each year the City of Glendale does apply for the Continuum of Care Program funds. We have been doing this since 1995. And this year, I'm happy to say that we have also submitted our grant application after a 2-month process. We will be requesting a total of a little over $2.7 million to fund all of our existing projects in the continuum. Exhibit 1 actually lists all of our renewal projects. We have a total of 8 projects that we are requesting funding for. These projects have been around for quite some time. However, we do need to compete for the funds annually. In addition to all of our existing 8 projects, the city will also be submitting an application for a COC planning project. This project helps the Glendale Continuum of Care staff here at the city plan out homeless programming, work with all of our subrecipient agencies, conduct fiscal monitoring, program monitoring, and just take care of a lot of the strategic planning that happens in our continuum. This application is, of course, submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and when we work with our agencies to apply for these funds year after year, especially the last 2 years, one of the things that we look at are the program priorities that are set forth by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We look at agencies to see if they're practicing the Housing First model, if they have any requirements of program entry that limit our clients from accessing services, such as, for example, requiring income, sobriety, etc. We want to make sure that all of our agencies are aware of the Housing First approach to quickly work with our clients and get them housed. We also look at our agencies to see how well they're doing in terms of reducing the unsheltered population here in Glendale year after year, how well they're working with our clients to make sure that they identify any racial disparities that are taking place in our community. We also work with our agencies to make sure that they are engaged and informed with one another, our partnering agencies, to collectively improve our system performance measures that we have in place, which is, for example, exits to permanent housing. How quickly is it taking our agencies to help clients get enrolled and placed into our permanent housing programs? Length of time clients are remaining in homelessness. First-time homelessness, how quickly are those clients being diverted in order to prevent them from further declining or staying on the streets for a long period? So these are just some of the program priorities I went over. They are in the report, but we do score and rank all of our project applications. And one of the things that we really try to do year after year is have a transparent process, an open and transparent process. So this entire application process is posted on our city's homepage, Homeless Services homepage, our scoring and ranking criteria, our actual projects that were scored and ranked. We also engage with our COC collaborative or groups to get their feedback and input on these programs. In fact, we had our COC meeting today. We had over 40 service providers from all over the city and county engaged, actively engaged, helping us really continue to build a really strong homeless response system. So with that said, this does conclude my presentation. We would just like your blessing on the approval of the 2023 COC program priorities, as well as your approval for the Glendale Continuum of Care as the collaborative applicant of this funding to submit the grant application officially. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from my colleagues? None?
Just a thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, wait, these are two separate items. The reallocation is a separate item?
Yes, that's, Maggie Kavarian will be doing the presentation on the reallocation.
Okay, so this is just the,
COC's portion.
yeah, the report, the application. Okay.
If I can make
Yes,
just one
please.
comment. I mentioned this during the staff briefing yesterday, but, and I recognize we can't do it for this report, but during the last meeting, we had the report on the status of women, which also helped break down a lot of the areas of needs and how they've changed. And so I recognize that a lot of these are grandfathered in as programs for us to apply for, but whatever data we're using now to also please incorporate the data that came out of that report. I think when we talked about adding those additional conditions to approving that report, part of that was each of the departments also looking into that report to see how they can use that data to better serve and create initiatives and programs and where we need to shift in the future.
Absolutely, Councilmember Asadarian. I'm actually happy you mentioned that report. I had a chance to take a look at it myself, and it looks like they did incorporate the homeless point in time count report data, which was nice to see that they had incorporated that as well. We will definitely take a look at that. And you're right, we do, these are somewhat grandfathered, but we do have to compete for it annually, and agencies have to meet the performance and the expenditure requirements, but doesn't mean we can't go with a different sponsoring agency, or it doesn't mean at some point we can't reallocate these projects to a different project and continue serving some of the clients that are already in there. There are other options, it's just we have to plan out for those, but absolutely, we will definitely take the data into account. We also do an annual racial like disparity assessment, racial equity analysis. We actually just presented our new report to the COC. We're happy to share that as well. It's posted on our website. And I'm also happy to announce that we now have a COC dashboard, a live dashboard on our website that has all of the data on there, how many agencies are in our continuum, how many people they're serving, the demographics, the background, how quickly folks are exiting our system. So we really want to keep the community informed and engaged and be transparent. So I'm really excited that we were able to bring that live dashboard, which takes into consideration a lot of data elements, qualitative and quantitative both. So, but absolutely, we'll look into that.
I think it would be worthwhile for us to get that, for us to also look at it. And then the report itself also provides opportunity for additional grant funding, right?
Yeah.
And the need that we have in this community specifically. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So
I'll move 1A, the council
Thank you.
motion.
I'll second.
so we've got a motion and a second on the council motion. Roll call, please.
Council members Asadrian,
Yes.
Divine,
Yes.
Kasakian, Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Brotman.
Yes.
And I'll move the housing.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Okay, roll call for the housing motion.
Housing Authority members Ajinian,
Yes.
Asadrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Divine,
Yes.
Kasakian, Parazian,
Yes.
Chair Najarian.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So what's our next agenda item?
Our next item is Community Services and Parks regarding reprogramming of Community Development Block Grant Community Agency Capital Improvement Project funds from fiscal year 2021 to 2022 and fiscal year 2023 to 2024 from Homenetmen Ararat. A council motion to reprogram returning funding from Homenetmen Ararat CIP projects totaling $454,018. B, council motion to approve a substantial amendment to CDBG ESG and Home Annual Action Plans for fiscal year 2021-2022 and fiscal year 2023-2024. Authorize submission of the substantial amendments to the annual action plans to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorize the city manager or a designee to redirect excess, canceled, or unused program funds under $50,000 from one project to another with CDBG Advisory Committee approval. C, Housing Authority motion to approve a substantial amendment to CDBG, ESG, and Home Annual Action Plans for fiscal year 2021, 2022, and fiscal years 2023, 2024. Authorize submission of the substantial amendments to the annual action plans to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorize the city manager or designee to redirect excess, canceled, or unused program funds under $50,000 from one project to another with CDBG Advisory Committee approval. D, council resolution of appropriation to reprogram Community Development Block Grant City Capital Improvements Project funds from fiscal year 2021-2022 and fiscal year 2023-2024 from Homenetmen Ararat.
Thank you, Mr. Galanian.
Yes, Mayor Brotman, members of City Council, Chair Najarian, members of the Housing Authority. I'm just going to invite Maggie Kavarian, our great community services manager, who's ready to present this item for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Mayor Brotman, members of the City Council, members of the Housing Authority, I have a very short presentation for you today to go over the reprogramming of CDBG CIP funds from Homenetmen Glendale Ararat chapter. Just to give the council a little background, there are 4 CDBG CIP projects in the pipeline for Homenetmen Ararat. 2 of them, HVAC and roofing, are currently in bid phase, while the restroom project is on hold until the HVAC and roofing project are completed. And then in just this July 1st, parking lot project was approved by the City Council and the Housing Authority. So combined, Ararat has $742,000 in CDBG funding. As I went over the project status, HVAC and roofing were bid out together. What happened was, because they're in the same vicinity, the agency and staff felt that this would be a better option for Ararat to get better bids coming in. So these 2 projects went out to bid 2 times, but no proposals were received. On the 3rd bid attempt, they received 1 qualified bid from Bedrock Group for $940,000. Ararat came back to the staff and asked to cancel their 2 projects that they have, which is restroom and parking lot, because they have right now a combined total of $288,000 for their roof and their for HVAC. So they thought that if they return or cancel that funding, we can reprogram it and use those funds to complete the roofing and the HVAC project. Now, that would bring them up to about 700,000, but the remaining shortfall of 200,000 would be leveraged by the agency themselves. So if this is approved, and we can break it down a little further, if the restroom project is canceled, it's about $206,000. 104 would go to HVAC, 101 would go to roofing. And then the remainder, the $247,500 from the parking lot that was just approved, would go directly to the roofing project. The CDBG Advisory Committee did meet in August 28th, and they did approve and recommend these cancellations and reprogramming of funds. Now, because the reprogramming and canceling triggers a substantial amendment under HUD rules, we are asking to approve the annual action plan substantial amendment for fiscal year 2021 and 2023, and approve the changes so we may submit that to HUD and have Home Minutemen get started on that project. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have.
Yes, on slide 3, where it says restroom CIP at main campus on hold, can you further elaborate on that word on hold, or is it cancellation?
Sorry, on slide 3,
Yeah.
it's on hold because they want to focus on the HVAC and roofing, so they were out to bid during that time. So this year, they wanted to focus on, because the rainy season is coming up, so they really wanted to focus on roofing and HVAC, get that completed, because they have 2 campuses. This is the main campus. So they figured if they complete that first, then they would
I
move
see.
on to the restroom project. The parking lot project is newly funded, so they were gonna work on that the following 2 years. That was the plan.
Thank you.
Councilmember Devine?
First of all, the contractor came in with a $940,000 bid. Was that higher than they thought it was going to be in the original application?
So originally, absolutely, it was Councilmember Devine. So originally, they received $193,000 for roofing and $95,000 for HVAC. But again, this was done in 2019 and 2020 before pandemic. The numbers have they've skyrocketed for contractors. We actually did a kind of an independent study ourselves as staff, just to make sure. It is a 30,000 square foot roof. It's pretty large. There's 3 areas of that roof at the main campus. Therefore, we kind of calculated and we understood that this is really the going rate. Now, another thing to consider is it's not just replacement of the roof. There are solar panels up there. So those solar panels have to be removed, and the roof has to be replaced and corrected, and then the solar panels have to be replaced again. So there is a little bit more to it than just a roof replacement.
And Home Minutemen has conceded that they will come up with the remainder of the amount that they need?
They definitely have to. This is they're in a dire situation right now. They really pressed us hard to get this going because the rainy season is coming up.
Yeah.
And so they are definitely, they got board approval when we had the letter submitted to us. The board approved that $200,000 be leveraged on their behalf.
Okay, and we've done this before, haven't we? We've exchanged.
Yes, Councilmember Devine, we actually did this in April of this year. We did a lot of swaps in a sense, but the one that I can kind of highlight would be the Campbell Center. Campbell Center had a very similar issue. They had their Alma House project, which they received about $200,000 for. The bid came back at $500,000. So they canceled their Hamilton House project, which was also in the pipeline, and applied those funds towards Alma House. Alma House is now is in construction right now.
That's great.
So it does work out.
Yeah, okay. And the timing element that's mentioned in the report, and that's in our favor, why?
Well, if we were to approve this today, that would allow $742,000 to be committed to the joint project, which means we start the project in October, maybe November, and we start drawing down. That means the contractor's ready. They've already decided that they want to do this project, which means $742,000 would be drawn down from our balance, which is about $6 million. We have other projects in the pipeline, but this would help us alleviate that timeliness issue that HUD requires us to do.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Good.
Any other questions? I just had one that I raised in the briefing. Could you explain what, with this HVAC, what is meant by installing a new gas and electric package and heat pump AC units?
We did, Mayor Brotman, members of the Housing Authority, members of the City Council, we did reach out to the agency as well as reaching out to the contractor. And this is what the contractor stated. All the HVAC units are SEER, S-E-E-R, Seasonal Energy Efficiency Rating. Energy efficient air conditioning systems, and the system utilizes less energy while maintaining optimum cooling performance. The units are environmentally friendly.
That's all they told you? I just raised that because I want to make sure going forward, that any funding that we're providing to, agencies is going to, being used in the right way environmentally. And so I would not be interested in us funding gas systems, especially, since we are amending our own reach code so that we don't, we don't build new buildings with gas. So that makes me uncomfortable to see that is it a new HVAC that's gas-based?
There will be 7 HVAC units installed,
Yeah.
and they are a combo, so it's a combo gas electric.
Yeah, which means it's basically gas. I think the electric just triggers on the gas. I don't know enough about how it works. But that is something that doesn't make me too thrilled to see us putting money into that kind of equipment. I know it's pretty far down the line, but maybe we can, get a message back to CDBG as they look at these things going forward to take that into consideration.
We actually, Mayor Brotman, members of the Housing Authority, members of the City Council, we will be meeting back with the CDBG Advisory Committee in October, and we are updating a lot of policy changes, and we will bring forth that recommendation that you have for the committee to review and to consider, and then we will bring that to the City Council in November to vote on.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Assumption?
Yeah, this isn't, just to clarify, this isn't for a new building, right? This is for renovating.
That is correct, Councilmember Asatrian. This is for the main campus, which is at 3347 North San Fernando
Right.
Road, the current building.
So our electrical reach codes are specific to new construction, and this is actually one of the points of discussion we had, Mayor Brotman.
No, I think I'm making a different point. I mean, they're not even in Glendale, so our reach codes don't apply to them. The point is, they're buying new equipment. They're putting in new systems. We're supporting that financially. There's a choice to be made when you put in a new system, whether you want to put in something that's fossil fuel-based or you want to put in something that's electric. That's a decision. You're going to live with that for a very long time. We should be throwing our weight behind the choice of electric as opposed to gas. That's what I'm talking about. I just mentioned the reach codes because that's kind of the context that this is something that we're working on, that we care about. That was it.
Okay.
And then going back to the roofing project, Mayor Brotman, their solar panels that they have, that was CDBG funded as well. So it was something that they were kind of on the forefront of doing that, where
Yeah,
HUD had
yeah.
just started
Yeah, okay,
solar panels.
okay. All right, so can I guess we have 3 council items and 1 for housing. So can we get
I'll move
a
it.
motion for 2A, B, and D?
I'll move it.
2A, B, and D?
Second.
Second, okay, and roll call, please.
Council members Asadrian,
Yes.
Divine, Kasakian, Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Brotman.
Yes. And I'll move item 2C for housing.
Second?
Roll call for housing?
Housing Authority members Achinian,
Yes.
Asadrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Divine,
Yes.
Kasakian, Parazian,
Yes.
Chair Najarian.
Yes. Move to adjourn for council.
Second?
Okay, council's adjourned, and I will move to adjourn for housing.
Second.
Housing's adjourned.
Okay.